The ballroom at the Grandview Hotel sparkled with celebration. 200 guests filled the space for Dad's retirement party. 42 years at Henderson Manufacturing, finally stepping down as Chief Operations Officer. Crystal chandeliers cast warm light over tables draped in navy linen, Dad's favorite color. I stood near the bar watching my brother Kevin work the room like a politician. He'd flown in from Seattle for this, bringing his wife Melissa and their carefully curated stories of success. His custom suit probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. "Lauren." Mom appeared at my elbow, champagne in hand. "You look lovely, sweetheart. Though I wish you'd worn something more formal." I glanced down at my simple black dress. "This is formal. It's from Macy's, dear. Kevin was just telling me about Melissa's dress. Valentino, straight from Milan." She patted my arm. "But you look nice for what you can afford." Before I could respond, Kevin's voice boomed across the room. "Lauren, there's my little sister." He crossed the floor with arms spread wide, pulling me into a hug that felt more like a performance. "How's the freelance life treating you?" "It's good." "Still working from that coffee shop?" He laughed, turning to include the nearby guests. "My sister's a digital nomad. No office, no structure. Just her laptop and a dream." His colleagues chuckled politely. "Actually, I work from home mostly. Home office, coffee shop, same difference." Kevin draped an arm around my shoulders. "Lauren does graphic design. Makes logos, websites, that sort of thing. Very creative." "It pays the bills," I said quietly. "Barely, I'd imagine." He squeezed my shoulder. "Hey, no judgment. Not everyone's cut out for corporate. Some people prefer the freedom of freelancing, even if it means financial instability." Melissa joined us, her Valentino dress rustling. Kevin just made Senior Vice President at Titanium Solutions. Youngest SVP in company history. "Congratulations," I said. "Thanks, sis." Kevin's chest puffed visibly. "It's a tech giant. Maybe you've heard of it? We do enterprise software solutions, annual revenue around $800 million. I manage a team of 85 people." "That's impressive." "It is, isn't it?" He signaled the bartender. "Melissa and I are celebrating. Just closed on a house in Bellevue, $2.3 million waterfront property. The mortgage is insane, but when you're pulling in $340,000 a year, you can afford to live a little." I sipped my wine, saying nothing. Dad approached, looking distinguished in his navy suit. "Kevin, stop monopolizing your sister. Lauren, come help me greet the board members." As we walked away, I heard Kevin tell someone, "My sister's the artsy one. Couldn't handle the pressure of a real career, so she does freelance work. We all support her choices, of course." Dad's jaw tightened. "He shouldn't talk about you that way." "It's fine." "It's not fine, Lauren. You work hard. Just because it's different from Kevin's path." "Dad, really? It's okay." I squeezed his arm. "This is your night. Let's enjoy it." The dinner service began. I was seated at the family table. Dad at the head, Mom beside him, Kevin and Melissa to his right, me to his left with Aunt Patricia and Uncle George. Kevin dominated the conversation, detailing his recent promotion, the company's quarterly earnings, his team's accomplishments. "We just landed a $50 million contract with a Fortune 100 company," he announced, cutting into his filet mignon. "I led the entire negotiation. My VP kept telling me to aim lower, but I pushed for the bigger deal. That's the difference between good and great. You have to take risks." "Your VP sounds smart," I said. "Conservative approach probably protects the company." Kevin laughed. "Michael's brilliant, don't get me wrong. But he's risk-averse. That's why I'm SVP and he's VP. Leadership requires bold moves." "Michael Bennett?" I asked casually. "You know him." The name sounds familiar. Probably saw him on LinkedIn or something. He's well connected in the industry. Kevin turned to Dad. "Actually, Dad, Michael and I are discussing bringing you on as a consultant. Titanium Solutions could use someone with your manufacturing expertise. The pay would be significant. We're talking $200,000 for 6 months of advisory work." Dad's eyes widened. "That's very generous, son. You earned it. Plus, it'll give you something to do in retirement." Kevin winked. "Can't have you getting bored." The servers cleared dinner plates and began setting up for dessert. That's when I saw him. Michael Bennett walked into the ballroom, scanning the room. He was in his early 50s, salt and pepper hair, the confident bearing of someone who'd spent decades in executive positions. He spotted our table and his face brightened. He headed straight toward us. Kevin noticed and straightened immediately. "Oh, perfect. Dad, this is Michael, my VP I was telling you about. Michael must have finished his other commitment and came to congratulate you." Michael reached our table, but he didn't look at Dad or Kevin. He looked directly at me. "Ms. Davis," he said warmly, extending his hand. "I didn't realize you'd be here. What a wonderful surprise." I shook his hand. "Hi, Michael. Nice to see you." Kevin's smile faltered. "Wait, you two know each other?" "Know each other?" Michael laughed. "Ms. Davis approved my promotion to VP 3 years ago. I report directly to her." The silence that followed was absolute. Kevin's fork clattered against his plate. "What?" "I wanted to thank you in person," Michael continued, addressing me. "Your approval of my promotion to Senior VP came through this morning. The board meeting went exactly as you predicted, unanimous vote." "Senior VP?" Kevin's voice cracked. "But I'm the SVP. You're my VP." Michael turned to Kevin, confusion crossing his face. "Kevin, Ms. Davis owns Titanium Solutions. She founded the company 12 years ago. I've been reporting to her since she hired me as Director of Operations in 2018. "That's impossible," Kevin whispered. "Lauren's a freelancer. She does graphic design." "I do graphic design," I confirmed. "For my company's marketing department. Among other things." Michael pulled out his phone, showing Kevin the company org chart. "See? Lauren Davis, founder and CEO. Board chair. Primary shareholder. I'm Senior Vice President of Operations as of this morning. You're Senior Vice President of Sales, reporting to the Chief Revenue Officer, who reports to me, who reports to Ms. Davis." Kevin stared at the screen like it showed something incomprehensible. Mom's hand went to her throat. "Lauren, you own Kevin's company?" "Titanium Solutions, yes. We specialize in enterprise software. Annual revenue is actually $940 million as of last quarter, Kevin. Not $800 million. The numbers were released at the board meeting yesterday." Dad set down his water glass carefully. "You founded a billion-dollar company?" "Close to it. We're on track to hit $1.2 billion next fiscal year." I turned to Michael. "Congratulations on the promotion. Well deserved." "Thank you. I wanted to ask, the consultant position for your father you mentioned last week. Should we move forward with that offer?" Kevin's face went white. "Consultant position?" "Ms. Davis suggested we bring her father on as a manufacturing consultant," Michael explained. "She said his expertise would be invaluable for our new product line. The offer we discussed was $250,000 for 6 months, with potential for extension." "That's $50,000 more than what Kevin stopped himself. I smiled at Michael. "Let's proceed. My father's retiring from Henderson, but I'd love to work with him. Send him the formal offer Monday." "Excellent." Michael nodded politely to the table. "Enjoy your evening. Ms. Davis, I'll see you at the quarterly review next week." As he walked away, Kevin finally found his voice. "This whole time, you've been my boss? Technically, you report to James, who reports to Michael, who reports to me. But yes, ultimately. The contract I mentioned, the $50 million deal, required my final approval. I signed off on it Tuesday. Congratulations on the negotiation, by the way. It was solid work." Melissa looked like she might faint. "But you said you did graphic design." "I do. I designed our logo, our website, most of our marketing materials. I enjoy the creative work. I also happen to code, manage a team of 400 employees, and sit on 3 other tech company boards." Kevin's hands were shaking. "Why didn't you tell me?" "I tried. 3 Christmases ago I mentioned starting a software company. You told me to stop playing entrepreneur and get a real job with benefits." The memory hung in the air. "But you drive a Toyota," Kevin said weakly. "You live in that small condo. You dress like someone who doesn't need to prove anything." I finished. "The Toyota is a hybrid, better for the environment. The condo is in downtown Seattle, walking distance to our headquarters. It's 2,000 square feet and I paid cash for it. I dress comfortably because I work in tech, Wear a hoodie is perfectly acceptable CEO attire. Dad was staring at me like seeing me for the first time. Lauren, sweetheart, why keep this from us? I didn't keep it from you, Dad. I just stopped correcting people's assumptions. Kevin needed to believe he was the successful one. Mom needed to worry about my finances. You all had your narratives about who I was and they made you comfortable. The freelance work story, Mom began, is technically true. I freelance as a graphic designer for my own company. I just didn't mention I own the company. Kevin suddenly stood. I need air. Melissa followed him, leaving our table in stunned silence. Aunt Patricia spoke first. How much is the company worth, dear? My personal holdings? Around $680 million. The company's valuation is higher, but I have investors and board members. Uncle George whistled low. And you never said anything. Would you have believed me? The artsy dropout who couldn't handle corporate pressure. I never called you a dropout, Dad said quietly. No, but you didn't defend me when Kevin did. None of you did. You all accepted the narrative that I was struggling, that I needed financial advice, that my choices were somehow less valid than Kevin's corporate career. Mom's eyes filled with tears. We failed you. You made assumptions. I let you because I wanted to see if you'd value me without the credentials. I stood picking up my purse. The consultant offer for Dad is real. I meant what I said, I'd love to work with you. But not because I pity you or because I'm trying to prove something. Because you're actually brilliant at manufacturing, and my company could benefit from your expertise. Where are you going? Dad asked. Home. I have a board call tomorrow morning, Tokyo time zone. He stood, pulling me into a hug. I'm proud of you. I should have said that more often. I should have asked what you were really doing instead of assuming. You should have, I agreed. But you can start now. As I walked toward the exit, I passed Kevin standing near the bar, phone pressed to his ear. He was probably calling someone at the office, verifying what Michael had told him, still trying to process that his freelancer sister was actually his ultimate boss. My phone buzzed with a text from Michael. Asterisk, thank you for coming tonight. Should I expect Kevin's resignation Monday? Asterisk. I typed back. Asterisk, no. He's good at his job. Pride is wounded, but he'll recover. Let's give him space to adjust. Asterisk. Michael. Asterisk, you're generous. Most CEOs wouldn't be. Asterisk. Me. Asterisk, he's still my brother. And this is still Dad's night. Asterisk. Outside, the valley brought my Toyota around. As I drove away from the Grandview Hotel, I could see through the ballroom windows. Dad was back at his table, probably telling people about his daughter, the tech CEO. Mom was likely crying, processing everything she'd gotten wrong. And Kevin was probably still standing at that bar, his entire worldview shattered by one VP's greeting. Tomorrow they'd all adjust. Kevin would come to terms with reporting to his sister's company. Mom would stop worrying about my finances. Dad would probably accept the consultant position and we'd actually work together. But tonight I drove home to my small condo that I loved in my fuel-efficient car that made me happy, wearing my Macy's dress that fit perfectly. The freelancer who built an empire. The dropout who became a CEO. The little sister who'd been the boss all along. I'd let them see me as struggling because I wanted to know if they'd love me without the success. Now they knew the truth. And now we'd see if they could love me because of who I was, not what I'd accomplished. Either way, I'd be fine. I'd built a billion-dollar company while they weren't looking. I could certainly build a real relationship with my family, if they were willing to finally see me.